Hi, welcome to the Big Smith News Watch and welcome to Focus. Our guest today is Director of the Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission, Mr. Anil Sukhdeo.
Hi. Thank you for having me here today, Secretary. It's a pleasure being here as always. Today, what we'll talk about receipts. But of course, I'll give you a little bit of background for those of you who are now joining us and might be aware of who we are. So, the Guyana Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission, as we like to say, CCAC, just for shorthand there. It's much easier to say, of course, CCAC. But also, a lot of people refer to us as the consumer affairs people. That's fine also. So for those of you who know us as the consumer affairs people, we are a government-funded agency, an enforcement agency under the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. Our responsibility is to, of course, number one, protect consumer and consumers' welfare in the marketplace in Guyana, and secondly, to protect and promote competition in the business environment of Guyana. So we have been founded by legislation, and we have enforcement and regulatory authority and power to act on those mandates that we have. Okay, consumer protection and competition protection. So because we're funded entirely by the government of Guyana through the Ministry of Industry, Tourism, Industry and Commerce, most of the services that we provide to consumers are free of charge. So you have complaints that you want to bring to us, there's no cost to you. So you have any questions, Savitri, about receipts? We're going to talk about receipts today.
Okay, sure. Mr. Sukhdeo, tell us, why are receipts important?
Right. So receipt is for you to lodge a complaint with the CCAC. We need to have proof that you would have purchased an item from a supplier. Now, you can very well say you might have had an oral agreement, and that's fine. But for the sake of enforcement, if you have any issues with what you would have purchased, how exactly do we validate your claims? It's very difficult. So you could agree that you purchased the phone. The supplier could agree that you purchased the phone, but you could disagree on what it costs, what the specifications of that phone are. So it validates and substantiates your claim and gives us a ground on which we can enforce our laws. So receipts really spell out the details of your transaction. It provides proof of purchase and a record of that. So contents of receipt. There are some things that a receipt should have. So I'll let you make a guess on what some of those contents are that should be in a receipt. Well, it's fine. Go ahead, guess.
Obviously, they will carry the prices of the item.
Correct.
It will state the name and quantity of item.
Correct. The description and quantity.
Right. In addition to that, maybe a serial number or so attached to the item.
Right. Many times you can have a serial number just to be even more specific than the description. So the description could say it. As we're talking about phones, let's just continue with phones. It could say a Samsung whatever phone, but then you could have a serial number and a model number attached to that. So it could be the very latest version or maybe an old version of that phone. What else?
Time and date of purchase.
Perfect. So date of purchase is also very important. So date of purchase comes into play when you have to talk about warranties and guarantees. So and those are time sensitive conditions of purchase. So if you purchased a phone, let's say 5 years ago, it's very well likely that you're not gonna have a warranty or a guarantee on that phone. So proof of purchase, proof of the date of purchase on your receipt is important to enforce other aspects of your rights as a consumer and the obligations of the supplier. So the date of purchase is quite important. Additionally, one last bit of important information on receipts is that they should ideally be legible for a very specific time period. I'll let you hazard a guess again, Savitri, on how long should receipt be legible. So the ink should be clear and it should be readable after a period of time. And it's fine. A lot of us don't know what that should be. Just make a guess. It's okay.
I'd say within a year if we're talking about a cell phone.
Well, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Right.
By law, a minimum of 12 months or a year, your receipt should be legible. So make sure you have the proper equipment. And this is to suppliers. When you print your receipts, make sure you have the proper equipment. So you're printing your receipts machine, whatever that is, and the ink they use also. So the paper, the ink, and the machine that uses both of those there. Make sure you purchase proper equipment. So when you hand over a receipt to a consumer or for a transaction, it should be legible after a year. You have any questions on any of the things that I would have mentioned there, Savitri?
Yes. Let's say in the event we would have purchased this item from a store that just doesn't want to issue us a receipt.
Right. So there's two things when that situation, and I'm glad you asked that question. There are two things when that situation occurred. So one is you report that agent, that enterprise to us. It's illegal to be handing over money for a transaction and you're not provided a receipt for a number of reasons. One, under the the Consumer Affairs Act, it's illegal under that. Two, many times they use it for tax evasion purposes, but complicit are the consumers sometimes, and I would urge you to desist from that, because many times you go in a store and they're going to tell you, what do they tell you if you don't want a receipt? You know?
No, I don't.
They say, well, you don't have to pay VAT if I don't issue a receipt. So you get the items cheaper, but you forgo your proof of purchase. They cheat the government and persons of the country out of taxes. So that's your tax dollars going away into the hands of a person. So there are more than one aspects of the detrimental effect of not collecting your receipt. So let me reiterate. Number one is that what you would try to do is, one, you lodge a complaint with the CCAC on these enterprises. The second thing you would do is I would urge you not to shop from anyone that foregoes giving you a receipt, because there is competition in Guyana, so many times you could go to somewhere else to purchase the same item. The problem is because we value our time much more. We're there in the present, in the moment. We're going to say, maybe it might take 5, 10, 15 minutes to go to a next store, and you don't want to do that. But you are the one that suffers in the end. So you'll lose maybe what you've purchased. It might be defective. You might want to return it. You might want to exchange it, which you're allowed to do under the laws that we have established in Guyana. Without that receipt, there's so much foregone value that you would lose because you didn't collect that. Maybe because for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And so you're not obligated to shop at any particular place if they don't provide receipts. And again, back to number one, it's that report these suppliers when these situations happen, because we're not going to be aware of every instant of default in suppliers. So we rely on the public to help us with that.
Okay, so there has been a growing number of online suppliers who are not registered businesses and stores. Could you advise us as to what we should do in order to have these persons issue us receipts? Because for the most part, they would say it's from Amazon or from eBay and they don't have a receipt for that.
Right. So even if they say that, they are in Guyana, they are reselling that item. So because they should be registered suppliers. That's number one. You're conducting business. Please get your business registered with the commercial registry and GRA. So because you're conducting business here, you have to provide a receipt. It doesn't matter where you source your product. In fact, most of the products that we resell here, resell, they have to come through reports from one country to the next. So it doesn't matter to me or to the agency if you got it from Amazon or you got it directly from Sony or Toyota or whatever it is. You brought it in, you have, you would, while your marketplace is online, you have a physical bond or storage area where you keep these items, even if it's for a temporary period of time, but you are operating in Guyana and you are subject to those laws. So you still have to issue a receipt. So it could be, maybe you don't have a sophisticated establishment. It could be a handwritten receipt, but it has to be issued to the persons you're conducting those transactions with.
Okay, and what are the policies regarding perishables?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked that. So I'll close on that and then I'll just, perishable items are usually consumable items, are usually dealt with the Guyana Food and Drug Analyst Department. So you can contact them. They're an agency or department of the Ministry of Health. So if it has to do with consumable items that are food products, that's where you get redress. And just for clarity, also, as we're on the topic, do you know who would deal with utilities and basically utilities? Do you know which regulatory agencies would handle complaints for that?
It would be the Public Utilities Commission.
Right. So when you have problems with your utilities, issues with utilities could be, for us in Guyana, it's telecommunications, water, and electricity. So you have issues with any of those services, what I would recommend you to do is to contact the Public Utilities Commission. So I'll just close with saying be careful where you shop. You as a consumer, you have power, you have purchasing power, you have options. You don't have to go to any particular store. Know what your rights are, know what your powers are, and use those powers. So I'll just close with some of our contact information. If you have complaints, you can file our complaints online. You can file complaints over the phone, or you can come in person. So we're located in Sophia Exhibition Center. You can get us on 219-4410, or you can find us at ccac.gov.gy, where you will find all our contact information, all our forms. In fact, like I said earlier, you can submit a complaint online, so there's no need to actually come in and see us if you prefer that. Well, thank you, Savitri, for having me here, and I look forward to speaking with your viewership again.
Thank you, Mr. Sukhdeo, for enlightening us on these issues.
Thank you.